Hello, I'm Simon Adebisi and welcome to highlights of the 2012 Formula SimRacing World Championship. Round 9 of the championship is the favourite for many drivers, the Belgium Grand Prix, staged around the historical Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. At just over 7 kilometres in length, the track is easily the longest on the calendar and features some of the most famous high-speed turns, including Eau Rouge, Pouhon and the full-throttle Blanchiment. With a diverse range of corners, this track demands both driver skill and proper setup in order to perform at the top level. Taking his second pole position on the trot, Ghostspeed's Morgan Morand again set the fastest time, ensuring the best possible start to the weekend. Jeffrey Rietveld continued his amazing form to start in second, beating out defending champion Bono Huis, who would have to settle for third. Philip Puškar achieved a strong result for fourth, as did both Yannick Lapchan in fifth and Uros Masculi in sixth. Netrex's Gergo Baldi set the seventh fastest time, and now driving for his new team, Marcus Hoffman qualified in 8th, getting an RC France racing car into Q2 for the very first time. Patrick de Wit would start in 9th, just ahead of Blair Disley in 10th. Surprisingly, Rasmus Tali missed out on the top 10, settling for 11th, as did Edward Malorqui, who could only manage 12th on the grid. Renaud Room announced that this would be his final WC race for the season, and he qualified in 13th, just ahead of Jim Paresis, who again struggled somewhat, only managing 14th on the grid. Peter Burlak also struggled, starting in 15th, ahead of yet another WC first-timer, Matteo Vecchioni, who qualified in 16th position. To the race start, and once again Morand had a brilliant launch, cleanly getting off the line. Huis challenged Rietveld up the inside into La Source, and the two swapped positions. There was plenty of tyre rubbing through the turn 1 crunch, and on exit Malorqui was squeezed between Vecchioni and Paresis and was sent sliding off the track and into the barriers. Down the hill, Morand was already several car lengths ahead, and up into 7th, de Wit had made his typical great start. The field cleanly made it through Eau Rouge in single file, though Masculi ran slightly wide, costing the Italians several positions. Down the Kemmel Straight, Rietveld moved alongside Huis, and into Lacombe, Huis held the inside line as the pair drove side by side through the three-corner complex, though Huis managed to maintain his position. Just behind, Lapchan had to lift off the throttle, and de Wit pounced on the Frenchman, moving up into 5th position after just a third of a lap. After the opening lap, Morgan Morand was well clear of Bono Huis, ensuring the precision driver would not be able to enjoy his slipstream. Yannick Lapchan appeared to be running higher wings, and he lost out to Baldi down the Kemmel Straight, while Hoffman retook 9th position from Masculi. De Wit then made a slight mistake into turn 11, dropping off the track, side-swiping the wall, and losing positions to both Baldi and Lapchan. The Dutchman then lost another position at the bus stop, with Rasmus Tali making a classy outside pass, cleanly getting around the outside to take 7th. Meanwhile, Stoffel Vandoorne was advancing at his home track, passing John-Eric Saxon into the final chicane, overtaking Ville Lepela into La Source, and then Blair Disley with an aggressive pass around the outside of the Fagnes chicane. Lap 3 and the drafting down the straight continued, with Jeffrey Rietveld again getting alongside Bono Huis, but this time the GT Amiga driver was stronger under braking, and he took the second position away from the defending champion. Meanwhile, Yannick Lapchan passed Gergo Baldi for 5th, and Patrick de Wit got past Rasmus Tali for 7th. However, further behind, things got messy when Hoffman went into turn 10 a little too quickly, and he tapped the back of Tali, sliding out of control, leaving Masculi and Room nowhere to go, with both drivers losing their front wings. With damaged cars causing a minor traffic jam, Jim Paresis was caught out and he span his car through Pouhon, though the Greek driver managed to keep his engine running. Meanwhile, Vandoorne continued his charge, passing teammate Matteo Vecchioni for 9th, and a mistake from Blair Disley dropped the Australian out of his 11th place. While the top 5 began to spread out, Gergo Baldi couldn't escape from de Wit, and after a couple of attempts, the Maccord driver eventually made a pass into the final chicane for 6th. Tali soon followed suit, drafting past the Hungarian down the Kemmel Straight. With Baldi very much on the defensive, Vandoorne closed in on the Netrex driver and attempting a bold pass into Blanchiment. The two came together, with Baldi helplessly sliding across the tarmac, fortunately keeping it out of the barriers. However, he had lost valuable time and had been dropped way down into 12th place. Further behind, in an almost identical incident, Blair Disley got a run on Jarkko Mikkonen, but into Blanchimont the pair also came together, sending Mikkonen into a half spin. Somehow the Finn managed to keep his car under control, only losing one position to Saxon. However, soon afterwards, Thomas Cook completely misjudged his braking into turn 1 and he collided with both Saxon and Mikkonen, causing substantial damage to the rear of Mikkonen's car and ending the race for both himself and a frustrated John-Eric Saxon. The infamous Spa circuit continued to catch drivers out, with Philip Puschke making a mistake out of turn 11 and sliding off the track. The German was dropped into 7th, but he was soon passed by Van Dorn, who made yet another pass around the outside of the bus stop chicane. The Belgian driver then wasted no time, and with Tali in his sights, Van Dorn made a bold pass, outbraking Tali into Lacombe. The Belgian driver now amazingly up into 6th at his home Grand Prix, despite starting way down near the back of the grid. Lap 10 and race leader Morgan Moran was again steaming away with first position. The Ghost Pit driver was the first to enter pit lane and several other drivers followed him in. Unfortunately, Vecchione hit the pit wall on entry, causing minor damage, while Patrick de Wit had a disastrous stop, dropping him back down into 11th. In the battle for 5th, Tali's crew made a faster stop than Van Dorn's, and the pair went side by side into the pit exit where they made contact, with Rasmus Tali emerging out in front. However, on the following lap, Van Dorn passed the Estonian into Lacombe, again showing his prowess under braking. As the race began to settle down, Moran had now over a 6-second lead on Jeffrey Rietveld, who was slowly pulling away from third place Bono Huis. Yannick Lapchan remained in 4th, with Van Dorn closing in from 5th. Rasmus Tali was in 6th, but Philip Puschke managed to get close enough to enjoy Tali's slipstream, and the Ash Racing driver put the draft to use, passing Tali to move up into 6th. Matteo Vecchione was in 8th, but the Italian ran slightly wide through Pouon, falling into the hands of Ville Lepela, who passed him on the following lap through Lacombe. In 10th place, Peter Burlak then got it wrong into Pouon, sliding out of control and dropping down into 12th. And further ahead, Philip Puschke made another mistake, this time on the exit of the bus stop. The German skillfully kept the car from stalling, but he then fought with Vecchione through turn 1, with things getting ugly as Puschke lost another place to de Wit. De Wit immediately attacked Vecchione, drafting alongside and passing him into Lacombe, and later in the lap, Puschke also went on the attack, this time making an impressive overtake on the Italian to take 9th. The second set of stops made no difference to the top 10 order, though Patrick de Wit had now caught up to Ville Lepela in 6th, and he cruised past the Finn with no difficulty, quickly creating a gap. Not far ahead, it was now clear that 4th place Yannick Lapchan was faster than Bono Huis in 3rd, and the Frenchman was soon all over the back of the precision driver. However, with higher wings, Lapchan couldn't quite find his way around, and as Van Dorn caught up to the pair, Lapchan appeared to deliberately allow his sister teammate through. Van Dorn just managed to get ahead of Huis down the Kemmel Straight, but undeterred, Huis stood his ground and defended the position around the outside. 2 laps later, Van Dorn made another attempt around Huis's outside, but the two made contact and Van Dorn was sent into a half spin, raising the eyebrow of the stewards. The Belgian driver didn't take long to catch back up though, and after Lapchan made a mistake under braking, running off the track, Van Dorn was once again all over Huis's back end. This time with a superior run out of Eau Rouge, Van Dorn streamed past Huis, and a slight advantage into Lacombe was all he needed to finally get out in front of the Dutch champion. The third and final set of stops went off without a hitch for most, though Patrick de Wit swiped the barriers on his entry, costing him valuable time and dropping him back into 7th behind Ville Lepela. Rasmus Tali had a disaster of a stop, accidentally breaching the speed limit and being served with a stop and go penalty. Meanwhile, Bono Huis stayed out on track for a long time before making his final stop, and he emerged from pit lane just behind Van Dorn, but this time it was Huis who had the advantage with his tyres 2 whole laps fresher. Huis wasted no time and he showed his class with an impressive overtake through the inside of the final chicane, and then slowly established a gap over Van Dorn. Further behind, Vecchione continued his fight with Puschke, but sadly the Italian's day ended early after he lost control after running wide, crunching into the barriers and stalling his engine. And on the final lap, Rasmus Tali had recovered somewhat, now running in 10th place, but through Lacombe the Estonian lost control, sliding hard into the barriers and beaching his car in the gravel trap. Tali eventually managed to get his car back on track, but he had lost the final point with just half a lap still to go. Taking his second win in a row, Go Speed's Morgan Moran took yet another dominating victory, decimating the field on one of the most iconic tracks of the season. 10 seconds behind, Jeffrey Rietveld continued his amazing form, achieving podium number 2 from just 4 WC starts. And although Huis crossed the line in third, he was penalised for the earlier contact with Van Dorn, with an extra 5 seconds added to his race time, meaning that Stoffel Van Dorn would take the third place on the podium. The Belgium driver having a monumental drive at his home Grand Prix, coming all the way up from 23rd position. Bono Huis would have to settle for 4th place, making it the first time the Dutchman has crossed the line outside of the podium since 2009. Yannick Lapchan finished another strong result to take 5th. Ville Lepelaar drove a solid race to see his first WC checkered flag in 6th, and a difficult race for Patrick de Wit ended with the McCord driver in 7th place. Philip Puška held on for 8th, just ahead of Peter Burlak in 9th, who once again had to make his way through the field from the near back of the grid. And picking up the final point, Blair Disley crossed the line in 10th position. So looking at the driver standings, and the gap between Huis and Moran has once again come down, with Huis now only 29 points ahead. Tali failed to score today, but he remains comfortably in 3rd place. However, 4th through to 9th position are now separated by only 5 points. Rietveld, Nilsson, Lapchan, Van Dorn, De Wit and Baldi are all still a chance to catch up to 3rd place in the standings. Saxon also failed to score today, but he remains just inside the top 10. Precision are now almost a certainty to take the Constructors' Trophy, with a 116-point lead over 2nd place. GT Amiga have once again scored a healthy number of points, as has Go Speed Racing, with the fight for 2nd place heating up with only 6 rounds remaining. Twister remain in 5th, and Macor and Netrex continue their fight, with Macor retaking 6th position. Elsewhere, Van Dorn's result has given AC Racing a much-needed points boost, and Ash Racing have moved into 10th ahead of Silverline. The next race will be the Italian Grand Prix, and you can watch that race live as it happens at SimRace TV on the 26th of August at 4 PM GMT. And don't forget to check out the Formula Sim Racing Fantasy League and FSR on both Facebook and on Twitter. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I'm Simon out of BCN. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the next round of the 2012 Formula Sim Racing World Championship.